The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you.
What's up? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and I'm very excited about my next guest. From the 98 Rock Morning Show in Baltimore, the one and only Josh Spiegel is on Hoppe Hour. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I'm very happy to get you on. I like the way you report the news because you add opinion and jokes into it, something that's hard to find a lot of times in newsreaders.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of most people that do the news are very buttoned up, and they just do it straight ahead. So I'm fortunate to be able to give it some personality.
So it seems like you put in a lot of prep when it comes into all of your news reports on 98 Rock. How long does it take each morning to get everything prepped?
Well, I like to get to work between 4 and 4:30, and I have to start right away going through newspapers, the internet, audio, and the first newscast is at 6 o'clock. So I'm pretty much working nonstop from when I get to work until 6 o'clock, the first news. And then during the show, I'm interacting with Justin and Scott and also preparing for the next news at 7 and 8 and 9. And then we do an entertainment report at 9:30.
What is the key to finding the healthy balance where you interact with the show while making sure that you're not missing any breaking news?
Well, I have the laptop right in front of me, and I have the news wires open, and it's constantly going back and forth to what's going on the show. I'm, trying to stay present and chime in on the show, but at the same time, I have to keep an eye on the computer just to make sure nothing, the world isn't blowing up. But we're also fortunate to have our sister station is WPAL, a news talk station. So if something really major happens, somebody will run in from the newsroom and alert me.
And now, what has been the craziest news that you've ever reported live on the radio when it was just coming in breaking during your years on 98 Rock?
On 98 Rock, let's see. I remember the Boston Marathon bombers, the manhunt for them. That spread out over a couple of days, and it was just crazy how much stuff was coming in. Social media was more current than the media, so that was pretty crazy. That's something I remember off the top of my head.
So another thing I want to ask you is, do you often approve of all the bits that the guys have you do, or do you kind of just go along with it? Like, let's say with Sleep Talk.
With Sleep Talk, I go along with it. I mean, I would have to. Somebody would have to physically force me to do it if I weren't doing it on my own. It's an app on your phone, and you set it up at night, and it records you sleeping. So it records crazy sounds coming from my bedroom, and I don't know how that got started. How it started with the old show. I've been with 3 different morning shows on 98 Rock, and I think it started on the previous morning show, and they'll ask me to record what's going on in my bedroom when I'm asleep, and I don't mind. I go through all of the sounds, though, before I turn it in, because I'm not, I have no idea what I'm saying or doing until I listen to it. But, no, everybody's very respectful. Nobody forces me to do anything I don't want to do.
Now, when you were playing basketball a few weeks ago with the guys on the video, there were people that were claiming that wasn't how you shoot the ball and you were just faking it. Is that how you actually shoot a basketball?
What? Who said that? You mean that I was pretending to shoot it that way?
There were people that were saying that you were just doing that for the bit, and that's not how people shoot it. It was on some of the Facebook comments.
See, no, I didn't pretend to shoot that way. I was shooting the way that I just thought the basket would make its way into the ball would make it into the basket. No, I don't. I'm pretty authentic. I don't. This is not an act. I do what I do. I am who I am.
You definitely are who you are, Josh. And now, over the years, you have grown at 98 Rock. What has been the major difference between working with each morning show on 98 Rock?
What has been the difference between working with each show? Everybody has different personalities, and it's constant growth. You're constantly growing. I think I'm such a different person than who I was when I started in 2005 with Kirk and Mark, and then in 2007 with Mickey and Amelia, and then it's a whole other show now with Justin and Scott and Mike Anderson, our producer. I said, I'm really happy where I am and where the show is.
How awesome has the fan base been for Baltimore radio? It seems like they really dig 98 Rock in Baltimore.
Yeah, the listeners are great. The listeners are very plugged into what we're doing, and it's so much fun if we go out somewhere and somebody comes up to me and will ask me about something I talked about that I forgot even happened, something that happened 2 years ago, and I've already long forgotten it, but they'll ask me about that event. So it's like having all these friends that you haven't personally met yet. It's just I wouldn't be where I am without the listeners. I owe everything to the listeners. I think we all do.
Now, what is the weirdest interaction you've ever had with your listeners? Because a lot of times male-oriented talk shows bring out the weirdest in listeners. So have you had any weird interactions at all?
Let's see. Weird interactions with listeners. You always, occasionally you'll have an oddball show up to an event from time to time, and nothing crazy stands out. It's just, you get a really wide variety of people, and it's interesting and it's fun overall meeting them. But no crazy stories that I can think of offhand.
Now, I want to ask you this. I want to visit Baltimore sometime. It seems like a town that would be cool to visit. Does it annoy you when the town of Baltimore gets a lot of the hate from the media or people that make fun of it?
Yeah, it's a really great town. It's a great town, and it bothers me a little bit when it is the brunt of a lot of jokes and hate. I think a lot of people don't really know it that well. I mean, Baltimore has its problems, but there are also a lot of positive things about it. And I've lived in Maryland my whole life. I grew up in Maryland, and my first full-time radio job was in Baltimore, and I've worked in Baltimore since 2005, and it's a great city. I love it. I love the people. It's a lot different from other cities that I've worked in.
What is the most underrated part about Baltimore?
I think that the people need to are not appreciated as much as they should be appreciated. The people are great. It's like it really is. It's probably a cliche to say, but it's really a small town in a big city. I've never met people like the people here anywhere else.
It seems like those small towns that are big but small are the ones that are the most like a big family. Like I worked for Rover in Cleveland for about 5 months, and it was like a big small town there. At times, I feel like those media markets are the best ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially if you're on a well-known show and people recognize you, then it's cool because it's like everyone knows you. You're friends with everyone, so that's one of the things I enjoy.
Now, when you're not reading the news on 98 Rock, what are some of the things that you like to do in your free time, Josh?
I have the hobbies of a 90-year-old man. That I just realized that you listen to the show, so you probably know about my bird feeding habits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a big problem with that now. I've got a hawk that's killing the birds in my yard, and it's destroying my hobby. I've spent years trying to find a hobby, and I don't have one, and I'm going through hell here. So I'm trying to figure out how to, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I shouldn't have put up 6 feeders. I got too close to the sun. That's what happened. I got a little too excited. Besides that, sometimes I do crossword puzzles, another senior citizen hobby. But it takes you have to focus so much on finding the words, so it takes your mind off of all the horrible things going on in your life. And I like reading. I read so much for work. Frustrating thing about it is I read so much for work that I don't have enough time to read leisurely things. Like I would love to read more fiction books, but I just don't have the time. So then I have my dog, of course, Pumpernickel, a lab mix. She just turned 12, and I love spending time with her.
Dude, isn't it crazy when you have a pet that's old? It's not the same thing, but my cat just turned 15 years old. And it's crazy, man, when you have a pet that is that old, because you learn to appreciate each day with it. You know what I mean? It's crazy when pets get old.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've had her since she was a year and a half. And here she is. You want to go outside? She's looking at the phone. She wants to go outside. But yeah, she's older, but I do appreciate her. And I've talked on the air before about how it's really unfair how a dog or a cat they provide so much love to people, and they don't live as long as people. So it's just one of those unfair things.
Yeah, man, it's weird because I didn't grow up with any brothers or any sis, so it was just me and my cats. And 2 years ago, my cat that was 17 years old died, and now my cat's like 14 years old, so it's just like, it's weird. Once she goes, I'm like, what am I going to have then? It's very weird, Josh, how we get so close to animals, you know?
Yeah, these birds that I have, you know what, my family is now telling me they know that my dog is getting old, and they know how close I am to her, so they're saying, well, why don't you get another dog? Why don't you, you get her a friend? They make it so they make it sound like I'm getting her a friend, but they really are trying to get me to get a new dog, so when my dog goes, that I'll have this dog in place. But I don't know. I feel weird about doing that.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. It's like, because then I feel like your dog or my cat, if I were to get a new cat, they would feel like they're about to be sort of replaced. So you need to kind of just appreciate each day and then get a new one. I feel like they would be creeped out by it.
Yeah, it's a very selfish thing to do. But then I have a horrible family, so that, what do they know?
What's so awful about them, Josh?
Well, they exist. That's what's awful. Okay, they cause a lot of trouble. They are just always causing trouble. No, they're fine. I enjoy them. I just went to New York to visit my sister, and I have a lot of nieces and nephews, so I enjoy it, once or twice a year.
Have you been more open on air about your life over the past few years? Because right when you brought that up, I knew everything that happened because I listened to the show. Have you become a guy that's very open about your life over the years on 98 Rock?
Yeah, I've become more and more open over the years. You really have to become open and talk about your personal life to make a connection, an emotional connection with the audience. A long time ago, I would just do the news when I was on another station, another city, and somebody in the business said, you have to start, opening up and talking about yourself. And as soon as I started doing that, things changed. I started making connections with listeners, and I became more popular. And just be yourself, even if you're weird or odd. So just do your thing, and people will gravitate to that if it's authentic.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever said on air? What's the weirdest revelation you've said on 98 Rock?
Oh, that's, wow, okay. There have been so many things. What's the weirdest thing? Well, what do you think the weirdest thing is I've ever said? You listen.
I think just your sleep talk audio is bizarre just because it's so loud, and they were playing that sound of the fart in the audio, and that was even bizarre, dude. I've never heard one like that at all.
Yeah, well, nobody can prove that was me. That's as long as nobody can prove it, that's the situation. I think I say weird things every day. I don't keep track. I don't know.
How about that bit from a few weeks ago where you drank all that caffeine and you went from 0 to 100 in a second? Dude, that was crazy, man.
Okay. I love drinking caffeine. That's from a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm easily affected by caffeine. Interestingly, though, if I don't drink coffee on the weekend, I don't get a headache, so I'm not really addicted. I drink coffee strictly for energy during the show.
Because what time are you getting up in the morning? If you're at work by 4, I would assume you're up by 2:45, 3 a.m.-ish?
Yeah, that's when my alarm rings, around then.
Every day, are you just mad that the thing is going off, or are you happy to be working at 98 Rock?
I'm happy to be working at 98 Rock. That's the situation. I have to get up at that time to be able to get to work at a timely fashion. And some days are easier than others. Some days are harder than others. But that's they call it work for a reason.
That's a very good point, Josh. Now, for people that would want to hear your work on 98 Rock in Baltimore, or if they're not in Baltimore, how can they tune into the show?
Well, first of all, I would not recommend hearing my work. It's not good.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Josh.
Okay, yeah, I know. I'm terrible. It's 98online.com, and we have the app is 98 Rock Baltimore. I don't know how all of that works, but that's the show is available that way.
Well, dude, keep up the good work, man. I've been a big fan of you for a few years now, so it was a lot of fun having you on Hoppe Hour, Josh.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime, man. Keep up the good work, Josh. And that was Josh Spiegel from 98 Rock in Baltimore as he called into Hoppe Hour. Now, if you want to hear more of my show, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iPhone shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. I have my own app like 98 Rock. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. and like my page on Facebook, Hoppe Hour, and email me if you want to collaborate. RyanHoppeRadio@gmail.com. This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.